Typically, Sonic bosses push your skills to the absolute limit, with flashy attacks and intense timing, and then some are the egg bouncer from Sonic 2. The less said the better on that one though. Sonic CD does things very differently. Instead of sticking to the classic formula, Sonic CD takes a more experimental approach. Bosses here aren't always about raw combat. Sometimes you're dodging hazards, outsmarting Eggman, or just trying to figure out what the fight even is. It's weird, it's creative, and whether it works or not, well, I guess that's what we're here to find out. Now, I'll be honest, I have way less experience with Sonic CD compared to the first two games, but over the past week I've played through it maybe 3 times to really get a feel for these bosses and figure out where they stand. Each boss will be ranked out of 15 points, and we'll score them across 3 separate categories. Firstly is challenge. That's basically how tough is the boss or how demanding is the fight. Next is enjoyment. How fun is it or how satisfying is it to beat? And finally is design. This is the creativity, the visuals and the overall cool factor per se. There will be 5 points max in each category, with a total of 15 up for grabs. Some of these bosses surprised me, so let's dive into every Sonic CD boss and rank them from worst to best. Firstly is the Egg Havoc, or Egg HVC001, with a total of 5 out of 15. Egg Havoc kicks off the boss lineup in Sonic CD, but it's hardly a memorable encounter. The fight feels more like a brief annoyance than any real challenge, lacking the flair or creativity you'd hope for a first boss in a Sonic game. Challenge. It's a 1 out of 5. This boss is barely a speed bump if I'm honest. If you run to the far right side of the screen and then wait, the boss literally can't touch you. It will not do a thing. It only gets a single point because if you don't know this trick, the fight might, and I mean it might, last more than 20 seconds. That's about as generous as I can be here. Enjoyment. It's a 2 out of 5. I won't say the fight isn't fun at all. There's something amusing about how quickly it comes and goes, but it's over so fast that there's no real gratification from beating it. It barely has time to exist before it's done, so this ranking feels warranted. Design. It's a 2 out of 5. The design feels, let's say, generic, with a basic sprite and no real connection to Palm Tree Panic's colourful, vibrant setting. The zone is awesome, however, its boss is not. It's an uninspired start to the boss roster, and I think having an actual weapon equipped on the boss would have really helped it out. Next is the Egg Spinner, the final boss of the game, which gets an 8 out of 15. For a game as visually wild and mechanically creative as Sonic CD, the final boss is, let's say, kind of a shrug. Like, it's not bad, but after racing Metal Sonic and warping through time zones, you'd hope for something a little more climatic than a stationary pod with a few spinning arms. Eggman's last stand doesn't quite stick the landing as much as I would hope. Challenge is a 2 out of 5. This is unfortunately one of those damage boost bosses, and yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. There's little incentive to play carefully when you can just tank a hit and then wail in the hits on him. Unlike previous classic Sonic games, you actually get rings as well, which removes a lot of the tension you'd normally feel in a final fight, such as the end of Sonic 2 and 1 for example. The only thing stopping you from winning quickly is, well, I guess choosing not to. Enjoyment. It's a 3 out of 5. It's fine, I guess. There's nothing offensive about this fight, and it controls well enough. The animations are clean, and there's some variety in the way the arms spin, and then they try and swat you on occasion as well, which adds another dynamic to the fight. But unfortunately, that is kind of it. Compared to the high-stake finales of Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the Egg Spinner just doesn't bring much to the table. It's serviceable, but it doesn't leave much of an impression. Design. It's a 3 out of 5. At least thematically, it fits quite well. The metallic sterile look of the room matches Metallic Madness, and the boss's design is coherent with the aesthetic of Eggman's machines throughout the game. But as a final boss, it feels underwhelming. There's no real escalation or spectacle, just another weird machine that looks like it could have come from any other zone. Final score. It's an 8 out of 15. Egg Spinner isn't a bad fight. I don't get it twisted, it's fine, it does its job, but it's definitely a weak finale. After a game full of creativity and bold ideas, this boss just plays it safe. It works mechanically, but doesn't excite or challenge the player in a way that a true final boss should. A flat ending to an otherwise fascinating game. And next we have the Egg Bubble, with a total of 8 out of 15. The Egg Bubble is the boss of Tidal Tempest, and while it fits the underwater theme well, it's not exactly a standout encounter. It's easy, it's slow, and while it's not bad, it's not all that memorable either. Challenge, it's a 2 out of 5. This is a really easy boss. The water poses no real threat thanks to the constant stream of bubbles you can breathe from, and the small shots that Eggman fires out are slow and easy to avoid. Unless you're actively trying to take damage, it's hard to imagine this boss giving you any real trouble. Enjoyment, it's a 3 out of 5. This boss is fine. It reminds me a bit of the Egg Bouncer from Sonic 2 if I'm honest, but this is definitely more enjoyable, mainly because Eggman actually fights back, and I like that in a boss. That said, it still doesn't leave much of an impression as I mentioned, it's just kind of there, not overly annoying, and kind of forgettable. Design, it's a 3 out of 5. The design fits the zone really well, and I appreciate that it tries something unique with the underwater setting. The bubble mechanic plays off the universal fear of Sonic's drowning, which is a pretty neat idea, I think it's pretty cool. But unfortunately, in its execution, it is a little bit slow and clunky. That's due to the underwater physics of Sonic the Hedgehog, and we all know how that is in the classic games. But this, unfortunately, does hold it back from being more exciting. Final score, it's an 8 out of 15. Egg Bubble delivers a solid underwater concept, but it's dragged down by sluggish pacing and a lack of impact. It's not a bad boss, but it doesn't do enough to stand out either. Functional, thematic, and a little bit forgettable. And next we have the Egg Conveyor with another 8 out of 15. Please do forgive me, I know that's 3 bosses in a row that have been ranked at 8 out of 15, which means they're fairly interchangeable, but the order I put them in here is literally just how much of an impact they left on me, I guess. Completely subjective, so please do forgive me. Anyway, it might just be the easiest boss in the entire game. That or the first boss. But anyway, even with its complete lack of challenge, it somehow manages to deliver one of the more memorable and cinematic moments in the entire game. Challenge? Well, it's a 1 out of 5. This barely qualifies as a boss fight, well, it kind of is. You can literally just hold right and win provided you have rings. As long as you literally have 1 ring, you're probably not going to die. This then might make it easier than the Egg Havoc from Palm Tree Panic, since this one doesn't even require timing, just a single input. 1 button press and Eggman's done for. Enjoyment, it's a 3 out of 5. And yet, hear me out, but I enjoy this boss. There's tension in the scene, even if it's manufactured more by the visuals than the actual gameplay. I can see the vision the developers had here. It's fun to choose to play it properly, dodging the sparks and avoiding the hits, rather than just coasting through it by holding right. Watching Eggman slowly panic as he inches closer and closer to the grinder is oddly satisfying, and it brings a unique kind of joy. Design, it's a 4 out of 5. This is definitely the strongest part of the fight. Once again, Sonic CD ditches the typical jump on Eggman 8 or so times formula in favour of something more creative. It's really a fun concept that's been explored, well, visually and mechanically, let's say. It's just a shame the difficulty wasn't tuned up even just a little bit, because everything else, the drama, the setup, the energy, is hitting some great highs. Final score, it's an 8 out of 15. Egg Conveyor is the definition of style over substance. It barely asks anything from the player, but still leaves an impression thanks to its presentation and creativity. It's not a good fight, but it is a fun moment, and sometimes I think we gamers forget, but that is more than enough. We are here for fun, and this boss has it in abundance. Next is the Egg Tilter from Collision Chaos with a 9 out of 15, and, well, it's fittingly named, because this boss genuinely tilts me. I'm joking. It's not difficult in the traditional sense, but it is one of the more frustrating experiences in the game, especially if pinball physics aren't your strong suit, and I find that out quite often. Anyway, challenge, it's a 3 out of 5. I've never died to this boss, and I've never really come close either, but that doesn't mean it's smooth sailing. The challenge here comes more from wrangling the physics than actually avoiding danger. It's essentially a pinball table, with Eggman occasionally making an appearance, and your success depends more on your angles and timing than traditional platforming skill. So depending on how good you are at pinball, this fight might be quite quick, or it could end up being quite the drag. Enjoyment, it's a 3 out of 5. Even though I'm not the best at pinball, I do appreciate what this boss is trying to do. It's a welcome addition to the boss roster because it spices things up and breaks away from the usual formula once more. It actually reminds me a little bit of the egg claw from Sonic 2, but this takes the pinball concept even further. And thankfully, it doesn't really overstay its welcome either. It's over fairly quickly, and I wouldn't be surprised if this helped to inspire Sonic Spinball. Again, that's not fact, it's just I feel like it could have been inspiration for it. Design. It's a 3 out of 5. This is where the boss really shines. The arena fits collision chaos perfectly, and it uses the zone's chaotic pinball elements to full effect. The downside? You barely interact with Eggman himself during the fight. It kind of feels like you're just bouncing around until something works, which weakens the impact of it being a boss battle. Final score. It's a 9 out of 15. Egg Tilter is more of a gimmick than a proper boss fight, but to its credit, it is a fun gimmick. It fits the zone really well and adds some variety to the lineup. It's not particularly satisfying to beat, and the lack of interaction with Eggman drags it down, but for what it is, it does the job very well. Following on is the Egg Razor, with a total of 10 out of 15. Sonic CD continues to embrace its signature brand of unique 2D boss design concepts with the Egg Razor, and honestly, I'm all here for it. It's simple, unpretentious, and nails that classic Sonic vibe, while adding just enough spectacle to make it stand out. Challenge. It's a 2 out of 5. This one's pretty straightforward and easy to beat. The basic tactic, just jump on one of the inner platforms that drop down, rinse and repeat. No tricky gimmicks or surprise mix-ups to keep you on your toes. That said, if you're careless, you can get hit and fall all the way back down to the start of the boss area, which adds a teensy weensy bit of tension and earns a point for its risks. Enjoyment. It's a 4 out of 5. This fight definitely nails that big bad boss vibe, which makes the whole thing feel surprisingly epic despite the simplicity. The enclosed space collapsing around you as you scramble upwards adds a real sense of urgency and danger. It's a blast to navigate the platforms and climb higher, turning what could have been a dull fight into something that actually feels exciting and dynamic. Design. It's a 4 out of 5. This is a well-crafted boss from a visual and mechanical standpoint. The aesthetic meshes perfectly with Wacky Workbench's chaotic top-tier composition leading into the fight. It all feels like a natural extension of the zone's identity. The upward climb adds momentum and tension, turning the room itself into the challenge. In a way, it feels like Sonic CD took the infamous run from the wall sequence that Labyrinth Zone initiated and asked, what if that was actually a boss fight? And honestly, it works. That twist gives Egg Razor a unique flavour that helps it to stand out. Final score. It's a 10 out of 15. Egg Razor may be simple, but it delivers on spectacle, tone and creativity, reminding you that Sonic CD is going to do things in its own way. It's not perfect, but it's damn good. Finally, we have Metal Sonic with a total of 13 out of 15. This is the iconic boss fight. Ho-ho, mama! And for good reason. Racing against Metal Sonic with Robotnik tailing you in Laser Death Machine? That's not just a fight, it's a moment. Sonic CD fully leans into spectacle here, and it pays off in style, speed and pure adrenaline. Challenge. It's a 3 out of 5. As a starting point, this fight's not all that difficult, especially in Sonic Origins, where the drop dash makes a noticeable difference. It lets you recover speed more easily, making certain sections smoother to handle. Honestly, it makes the race even more fun in my opinion, but that's a topic for another time. Still, there's tension here. Mess up too many jumps, or get caught behind the barrier, and Metal Sonic will leave you in the dust, or Robotnik will literally just roast you. The pressure's real, even if it's manageable. Enjoyment. It's a 5 out of 5. This boss is so much fun. Genuinely, I love it. And it's still my personal favourite Metal Sonic fight to this day. It's got everything. High speed, high stakes, and a wicked set piece. There's a sense of rivalry and danger that makes this feel like a proper showdown, and it's paced perfectly. Every time I play this fight, it gets my heart racing, no matter how many times I have done it before. Design. It's a 5 out of 5. This fight uses Stardust Speedway's theme and layout perfectly. From the blaring music to the winding paths and deadly traps, it all feels purposeful and well executed. The environment pushes you forward, the pacing is tight, and the mechanics all feed into the tension. It's not just a good race, it's a well-crafted set piece that's genuinely exciting every time you play it. Final score? It's a 13 out of 15. The Metal Sonic race is Sonic CD at its absolute best. It's fast, stylish and full of personality. combining strong visuals, music and gameplay into one unforgettable moment. It may not be hard, but it doesn't need to be. It's so fun, it's cool, and it earns a place as one of the most iconic boss fights ever made in Sonic history. And that's a wrap on every boss from Sonic CD, ranked from the forgettable to the downright fantastic. Sonic CD might be one of the weirdest entries in the series, but that's a part of its charm. Time travel, anime-esque cutscenes, and bosses that range from clever to weird to is it even a boss fight territory. It might not have the flashiest boss fights, but it makes up for it with an abundance of style, atmosphere and some really unique moments. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit like and subscribe. There's plenty more Sonic content coming your way. Maybe Sonic 3 is next, or who knows, I might randomly just jump into some Ratchet and Clank, even I don't know. Thank you for watching, and remember, the real boss in Sonic CD isn't Eggman at all. It's actually trying to remember whether you're in the past, present or future. Thank you guys. Look after yourselves and take it easy.